Yeah, I mean, he was joking and she got the joke. I don't know that she joked back, but it seemed okay. I don't know, but knowing that it was directed by a woman, I wonder what the... I wonder what's being said there, because as I believe, everything is intentional, and there, you could have had a lot of joking.
For me, it was like, yeah, they're both joking, but it's still like
weird.
Shitty. Like, why?
Huh?
He was pretty safe though. Like, I don't feel like he was.
Well, he did show up. That's interesting. Okay, now thinking about the Babadook as Grief, he comes by with like flowers, and he tries to almost like enter into that world, and she's just unable to handle it. And at that point, it was the kid that was kind of freaking out. And like yes, with maybe that's why he's there, because of the comment that yes, with grief as your tormentor, you don't, especially if it's from a former loved one passing, you have no ability to accept in someone new because that grief still lives in the house.
Yeah.
Well, we can continue to talk about, and I keep just thinking I have nothing to say other than this movie was amazing, but...
Can we talk about, so you guys didn't find it scary necessarily?
No.
Because I thought it was creepy.
Well, that's
scary.
That's kind of what I wanted to go to, is the vehicle of the Babadook. How good is that? Just the top hat thing. I thought the children's book looked awesome.
Oh, yeah, he's a famous illustrator.
It's not gory.
Anyway, sorry.
Is it gory? No.
Oh, actually, with the second time it comes back, she's cutting, is killing the dog.
Right. Oh, I knew when I saw that dog. I was like, that's going to
I know. As soon as it entered.
The only casualty in the whole movie.
Uh-huh.
Well, there's the book says that she's going to kill her dog. And it also says that
no. The book says the son kills the dog. Yeah, the boy's choking the dog, and then she kills the boy, and then she kills herself.
Oh, I don't remember.
The book kind of foretold. The book kind of foretold that, and that was one of her big fears throughout. I felt.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The Babadook. The one thing that was scary to me is I kept waiting for the Babadook to pop out in some way, to see the Babadook's face. And the only time you see it, I think, fully is in the neighbor's house.
Yeah.
It's in Mrs. Roach's house.
And in the films, if that counts.
Right, but I meant, in the real world. The Babadook looks exactly like Lon Chaney Sr. from... I can't remember the name of the movie.
That's London After Midnight?
London After Midnight, yeah. He was in that movie.
Well...
but the kind of sharpened teeth, the big eyes, the top hat, it looks just like him.
He has Freddy Krueger fingers.
Yeah, long fingers.
For me, the pinnacle of, I don't know, definitely the Jaws moment where you see the shark is when she's looking up on the ceiling, and you can kind of, you remember that scene?
The shadow?
Yeah, I hate that scene.
Why do you hate it?
That's the scene that after the shots of him leading up to that point are pretty creepy, especially when you see him standing in the neighbor's closet across the way.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as they show him on the ceiling with those CGI effects, that's when I'm just this movie's not scary anymore.
That's what I was gonna say.
It for me.
With John, you were saying you wanted to see it, and I think that
I was afraid to see it, but I was expecting it to pop out at some point.
I'm kind of glad she didn't show it too much, because it's oh my gosh, what's it gonna look like? And then you see it and you're like, okay, that's not scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think they gave just enough, but I do think after that scene where she's looking up at the ceiling, something in me knew it wasn't going to get worse than that. And part of that was that I saw the limited budget, maybe, I was like, oh, they don't have the ability to, I don't know, do something that I couldn't think of, but I just kind of saw, I was like, what we were working with, and I was like, but I don't know, I didn't mind it. There had to be some kind of pinnacle. And again, it's like the last film where Suspiria, where she jumps down and after you rewatch it, you see, oh, she looks down. Why would she jump down? But leading up, I think maybe it was what it was all about. Not so much it was nothing. When someone says boo and they jump behind a corner, it's not that, that's disappointing, you're just a person. It's that before that you thought it was a demon or something, you know?
Yeah, I think that's why I thought this was actually scary, or effectively scary, is because the whole time I was actually like, I felt on the edge, like waiting for something to happen.
I definitely think I want to watch it again. And Josh, you're the only one who's watched it twice. Now that I kind of know the moments and stuff, I think I think I could watch it again and just see it not even as a horror movie. You know, do you feel that way at all?
Yeah, kind of.
Just like like a really good drama, just kind of some cool moments. I mean, the villain or the character of the Babadook is really cool looking. It's, I don't know, the artwork's really good and. Wow.
I liked
This is a
the
love
sound.
fest.
Okay, I was thinking about like the sound it makes, the creaky Babadook.
Yeah,
which,
yeah.
by the way, every person that I know that has seen this film like enjoys saying that phrase.
Yeah.
It's just like a fun phrase to say. But I was just thinking, it reminded me of the sound the creature makes in The Grudge, like the like whatever. Is that The Grudge yeah, I think so.
I've never seen it. It looks scary.
Okay, but that sound I feel like is kind of, you often hear it in horror movies, and I was just thinking like, what is it about the like creaky voice?
Guttural
Yeah,
voice.
maybe that's what it is. It sounds like something's dying.
Vocal fry.
Let's all try it out.
Ready?
Yeah, I don't know. Why is that creepy? I was just wondering
it makes
about
me
that.
think of Reagan from Exorcist, which we talked about last time.
Yeah.
It's kind of,
Which was 73.
it sounds like somebody's like sick and
Maybe
a
like there's, like,
smoker.
blood in their
That's why
throat.
smoking is evil. Yeah, I don't know. Is that it?
Man, are we out of stuff to say? I mean,
Is it-
No,
'cause-
Lauren's asking a question.
what was the question?
Why is that
Holy fuck, are you
scary?
Why is that voice scary? I don't know.
Well, I think it's
Great banter, Gabe.
What am I, some kind of scare expert or something?
I think it's just interesting
Sound
to like, there are certain motifs you see throughout horror movies that doesn't have to like be anything behind it necessarily, but the second that sound comes out, you have like a reaction to it, and it's just interesting psychologically why we do that. But we don't have to dissect
Do we still have
that.
to answer this question?
No, it was more of a point
I was
raised.
speaking of sound. I didn't notice the music really. Was there music in this
There's
film?
hardly any.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
There's really just like a few score pieces in between scenes, and then the rest is like noticeably silent throughout.
As soon as, so I have a new baby. She's 9 months old, and I think about introducing her to these films. And
At 9 months.
At what age?
well, the other day she got afraid because she knocked over some blocks, and I was like, "It's gonna take so long." But I did look up the Babadook book, and it doesn't exist, at least on Amazon. But there is a book of like pop-up horror things.
Well, I read online that she made a limited run of like 200
Oh, yeah?
or maybe 2,000. Probably 200.
If anyone wants to send those to us, at
But-
you know,
Like, she only made a limited amount, so they're probably worth a lot of money now. Especially now.
if you have one, this podcast would appreciate it.
So,
Donate it to Gabe.
this movie for me, I think on the right day, this movie could make it into like some kind of my own top 10 lists. Like, I enjoyed it that much. But I
Is
think-
everyone in agreement of that? I agree.
agreement?
Whatever.
That top 10 horror
Is this like
movies?
up there for you guys?
This would be on top of like movies I saw that just movies, not even horror movies.
Yeah.
I just enjoyed it that much. I think it's funny though that on Rotten Tomatoes it got a 98%, which is I've never seen a movie I think that high on Rotten Tomatoes. But there are actually 4 professional reviewers on Rotten Tomatoes who rated it rotten, like actually hated it. And one of them, this is kind of funny, it says, The Babadook is a horror fable that's light on terror and heavy on whiny children. Which makes me think of Josh and Lauren.
Yeah, I wrote that review.
That's Matt Donato from We Got This Covered.
Fuck you, Matt.
Maybe he didn't work for a review called We Got This Covered.
What is he watching? What's he know?
I don't know.
So are you guys in agree? I agree that this is up there for me. I don't have such a list, but
For me, it's not.
Not that great, like whatever. Middle
Is
of
it
the
the
road.
best
No,
film?
I'm saying it's not like on a list of. Like,
Is it the best film we've watched in this podcast?
It's certainly
I
the
like
most recent
I like
film.
horror movies for different reasons. So
Like,
Not not story, or is that what you're saying? Or
no, I'm saying like me myself. I have different reasons for.
I know, what are
liking-
those reasons?
No, I don't think you understand.
No, I thought you were saying that I had different reasons than you. Anyways, like rewatchability is one thing for me. Like I was saying, I like to just play movies in the
Right.
background a lot while I'm drawing or whatever. And this movie, like I probably wouldn't watch again.
Mm-hmm.
I probably wouldn't have watched it again if it wasn't picked for the podcast. But
Lauren.
I really liked it, but I don't know. I think I'm prone. I liked that there wasn't too much gore, as we talked about, and that it was heavy on the like psychological thriller aspect. I think those are my favorite.
Yeah.
Are going to be my favorite movies. That if you get that part done down, and the characters are super well fleshed out.
Yeah, I agree.
I will say, this doesn't matter, but I think it's. You think about a horror movie, you think about people dying, or murder. Even though there's a lot of different horror movies where that doesn't happen, I think it's interesting to note how no one died, except for the little dog, right? And
Right.
and I don't know.
Does that take it down notch for you?
No, but I do think, and correct me if I'm wrong, you can email us at axbrotherpodcast@gmail.com. I don't... Children never die in any of these films. So there was almost like this safety of like, well, the kid's not going to die. Like, we're fine. Does that annoy anyone else? Like, I guess it's good that
You
children
want
don't
more
die.
kids to die?
9-month-old daughter, and he wants more children to die.
Oh, yeah. But I don't know why it doesn't happen. Anyone? Is that not
Well, I
interesting?
mean, it does happen. It's probably not in
In films?
yeah. But like as soon as you go to that level, then your film is probably not going to be widely accepted, and people aren't going to find it or talk about it.
You were saying it does happen. There's films where children die.
Yeah.
Do you know any offhand?
No, not offhand.
Okay.
I do know with Suspiria, he wanted it to take place at a children's school,
Right.
and they had to change it because they're like, that's too fucked up if kids are dying in a witch coven.
There is a famous quote. Some playwright, I think it's Oscar Wilde, said, "An audience will not forgive a child dying on stage." So there is sort of this understanding, I think, that an audience can't get over that. I think maybe if you want any redeeming aspect in your movie,
Yeah, I think it makes people
Shut
overlooked.
off, shut
Yeah,
down a little
completely
bit.
shut down. I mean, I think that's a good thing. It's a good part of our human nature.
I don't know. It's just kind of like watching it, knowing like this is not going to happen. You know, kind of takes away from something. I don't know.
but we have it. We've already back to the Bechdel test. I mean, an audience seems to have no problem at all with women being killed in very violent ways in a
Right.
horror movie, right? So it is interesting.
It's almost expected.
It's almost
That's
expected.
like the foundation.
So why do we choose who it's okay just to kill off and not
Well, it's almost like, I think that quote from Wilde isn't about correctness as much as what will be, you know, and the way mobs work. And because, you know, I personally could forgive a child dying if it made the story interesting, but
I don't know that you could. Honestly, I don't. I
it
really
might
don't
take
know.
the story to a pinnacle that they can't come back to after that. John, you don't think I could, but maybe, who knows? But maybe it's just what it is. It's the same reason why people don't mind when humans die in films, but if you kill the monkey or if you kill the dog, then that's the ultimate tragedy,
My wife will not watch a movie where a dog dies. That's a thing.
I was gonna say I don't agree with that because I think that maybe that's true.
What?
That people care more about animals dying than that's probably true because I remember when The Ring came out, all the girls in my class were like, they killed the horses. Do you remember that scene?
Yeah. Well, it's almost like it's just because
it's because they're innocent.
Yeah, the death of an innocent being is much harder to forgive than.
I guess then getting back to that's why they have to show women in these movies as either having sex or I don't know. That seems to be it, right? It's like killing off the sluts early on in the movie is kind of the work.
So that it's acceptable.
So that it's acceptable, right? Oh well, they had sex; they deserve to die.
Yeah.
Using a vibrator, you deserve to die.
When I was researching this, I was reading this article on the AV Club by Noel, I think, because it's a dude, and it's called "On the Babadook, It Follows, and the New Age of Unbeatable Horror." And I always like the idea of breaking down trends in horror films, and I really highly suggest people read this article because he does a good job of saying, like, we can't read too much in trends because movies are a market, and, like, if one movie is successful, other movies are going to follow, like the whole zombie thing.
Right.
Not because it means anything about cultural, like, feel or, something that's happening in our culture, but more just because it's making money. But at the same time, during the 60s, there was, like, Cold War scare
right.
and stuff, and you saw horror movies that were reflecting that. And so he was saying that this movie, along with It Follows, which I haven't seen, I think Josh has seen it though.
Yeah.
They represent like possibly a new trend of like unspeakable horror, and he says that he calls them like the menace is ever present, unsparing, and eternal. So the new trend is that there's like this evil that doesn't ever go away. It's not something that can be killed at the end. And it's also like doesn't have a real shape. I don't know. He was just saying it might be an interesting, like, what does that say about our fears as a culture in this day and age?
Well, I think for years we've had films where all is well when the dragon is slain sort of thing at the end. Like, that's what you get to. So, yeah, definitely in response to that, right?
Yeah, that they're... I mean, I think horror movies for a long time, or for a while now, have, like, there's always the hand coming back at the end, like, oh, it's not dead yet.
Right.
But saying, like, now it's, like, this different, like, ever-present evil.
And it was kind of beautiful how that hand didn't come back in some way, but the way they had it just kind of staying with them, I thought was wonderful.
Yeah, you weren't, like, scared for them. You weren't, like, they're actually in danger. It just leaves this lingering creepiness.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I liked it a lot.
I had nothing but good things to say. I don't know that I could improve upon this film. Josh, you had some feelings about that scene on the ceiling. Would you have taken that out, done that differently, or did it have to be there?
Yeah, I think it had to be there because that's when it kind of begins tormenting her. I don't know if it necessarily possesses her, but like that's the scene where it falls into her, right, from the ceiling.
Well,
I just didn't like the CGI part of it, but
the possession, I feel like it's not like night and day with her.
Yeah, because
it's a slow development where she's just kind of cranky, and all of a sudden downright all the way up to eat shit and die to her son. So
No, it was mostly just the CGI.
And then she keeps giving her son ice cream afterwards.
with glass in it.
Oh my gosh. I was just going to say, are we still doing the whole shining light thing? Because mine was when they find the glass in the...
Oh.
I thought it was soup.
Yeah, it is.
No, are we... Because she... Was that the son that did that?
No.
I think it was just... It's kind of like the maggots.
It's kind of like the maggot.
Or-
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
We gotta have some
says,
broken glass in
Mom,
this
it
scene.
was the Babadook that did it. Like,
Yeah.
why would he do that to his mom that he loves so much? He wouldn't. So,
Right, no, I know, but is she suspecting her son at all? She seems not
yeah.
to.
Yeah, because she doesn't believe in the Babadook, really.
And he's
at
trying to
that point.
say...
I can't recall what point that was, but
It's early on, at least in the...
because she says to the son, like, oh yeah, don't eat yours either, and she pulls his away.
Yeah, I think... Isn't the whole
Yeah.
point...
I'm not convinced that she thinks it's her son.
I don't know, does...
We'll have to do that on watch number 2.
Yeah.
My movie for next week is Babadook.
Anyways, do you guys have shining light moments, or are we going to go on to the next...
Shining light. I guess the scene that made me all teary-eyed when
The boys are tied up.
the boy stays with the mom and says, like, don't worry, I'm here for you, Mommy, and he's terrified. Yeah, I thought it was beautiful. Josh?
I don't know. I don't have one.
Josh didn't really have to say
I like Lauren said, I appreciate the psychological aspect of these movies. I think that not sleeping is a real terrifying thing, like not being able to sleep. I think that's actually what makes Nightmare on Elm Street so scary. Not Freddy Krueger, but the fact that you can't fall asleep
Right.
is scary. And so I kind of felt her pain in that. But the psychological aspect of it all was kind of a shining light. And this sounds silly. Well, maybe it doesn't sound silly, but I thought it was really cool that they actually did have a vibrator scene in the movie, because it was like unafraid to go there into like a real person's life, like a real person when they can't sleep,
Yeah.
does this. So
All right. Well, yeah, I find that we are unable to say much more because we all love this so much, except for Josh.
I like it, I'm just not...
gushing
anything else,
about
it
it the way we are.
Yeah.
if nothing else, it allowed Josh to talk about the history of vibrators and how big they've not become. You know, small
Not so much the
technology.
size.
Well, shall we go on to the film for next week?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
It's your pick.
It's my pick. Now, I just kind of figured out what movie we're going to do a few minutes ago. I've been narrowing it down, gearing up for this. This is a film that I feel... I'm nervous that you boys have seen it. I don't think Lauren has. I think this is a film that it's around, but it doesn't get the credit it gets. And I just loved it, and I watched it this year, and I'm going to watch it again, and I'm super excited. And that is the 2009 version of Friday the 13th, the Jason film. Tell me what you guys know about this.
I haven't seen it, actually.
I haven't seen it either.
I haven't either.
I know.
There you go.
I know. Here's my initial reaction: is why did they have to remake Friday the 13th?
Why not?
I mean, those movies should be coming up forever. There's no reason to stop making those movies.
Because, like, special effects change?
No,
Is
just
that it?
because it's a story that needs to come out every couple of years for people to watch, because it's a fun, enjoyable character to watch. Here's my... I love Jason after watching these movies this summer. He's my new favorite guy. But there's something kind of clunky about the Friday the 13th movies of the 80s and early 90s where, like Freddy and like Myers, like... I don't know, but there's something different about this Jason movie. I watched the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street, and I thought it really kind of sucked. And it could have been awesome, but I don't know, something about it didn't work. I don't know. Maybe it's for younger kids, but they it's debatable. I can understand if people didn't like this version of Jason, but for me, it delivered in a way that this is like what Jason would be in real life. So if this existed, if a crazy kind of psycho killer existed and he was like a bad, it's like Jason had a kid with Bruce Lee or something like that. Like, and so I enjoyed it. I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say, and I think this will redeem our idea of this kind of slasher film from Hatchet, who kind of I'm really excited for this.
Hatchet butchered it.
Well,
This movie's going to be about as fun as a bag of dicks.
yeah, can't wait, everybody. Josh, do you have anything you want to plug?
No plugs this time.
All right. Well, we do have a sponsor this week. Let me see. Oh, are you in a band that's looking for someone to design?
Okay, actually, I do have something to say. Actually,
Go ahead.
just to shut you up from doing that again. We never talk about how we have like total spoilers on this show,
Right.
and we've never like addressed it. I feel like, are we hoping that people watch these movies first and then listen? Or
They have a week. We announce it.
Well,
on
they
the
could also not listen to it till they watch it.
Okay.
We want you to listen, though.
Yeah, so we're not gonna say spoiler alert ever
That's the
because
worst.
we just talk about these.
Yeah, I think it's assumed, especially with a horror movie, that like we wouldn't not talk about the ending.
Yeah, some people do it though.
Yeah,
Is anybody annoyed that we're watching a Jason film?
Gabe wants
are you
more
just
reaction off of
skipping
his pick.
Josh's question? I thought.
Or did we address it?
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, we did.
I
I think we're done.
I think. Okay, actually, I do have no, because you are fishing for
Yes.
reaction.
Fisher.
Fisher Price over here. Can we edit that out? No, but I actually feel not like I've always felt like these movies are boring to me.
Yes.
No, because they seem like so pat. You know, if that's the right word. Like,
Pat, the androgynous Saturday Night Live character.
It's Pat?
no. Like it just seems like culturally they're referenced so much that I already kind of know what's going to happen and there's not going to be anything surprising. And it's like it's just kind of a slasher film.
I think this is why I'm excited for you all to
Gabe's
watch
eyes
it.
just got all wide when he said that.
Here's the one hope I have for the fact that we're watching a remake, because I've seen some of the original Friday the 13th movies. The original Halloween by John Carpenter is a classic. I don't find it that exciting. I mean, it's kind of just chasing around Jamie Lee Curtis with a knife and watching her scream. But when I watched the Rob Zombie remake, they go into the history of Michael Myers, who he was as a child, and then, like, mid-film, they get to kind of the plot of the original Halloween, and all of that I found much more interesting. So I'm hoping that with this Jason remake, there's going to be something like that, where we're going to see a little more depth than kind of the original, let's chase the babysitter around with a knife or a machete and watch her scream. I'm hoping there's going to be a little more to it than that.
Yeah, I mean, the only name I recognized on the production list or anything is Michael Bay, which is not a...
That's not a good sign.
not a good
Not
sign.
endorsement. Yeah.
But,
Michael Bay.
but, you didn't like the
Fuck
Transformers?
Michael Bay.
Whoa, not a fan of Megatron over here. But, yeah, I don't know. I think this film delivers in the right way. I don't want to overtalk it. And I almost feel like you could watch the other films with this Jason in mind. I'm really curious to hear what people that have grown up with these characters feel and think. So if you have any opinions about that, let us know. Because, I don't know, I can already hear people that I would talk to in conversation saying, this is nothing like Jason is supposed to be. But, and they might be right. But I'm excited to watch it again.
Well, on those lines, I want to say we have had people comment on, like, we'll advertise this on Facebook or Instagram, and we've had people say, like, oh, the show was funny, we liked it, or whatever. We would like send those in via email, right?
Yeah, Mom.
Feedback.
axbrotherpodcast@gmail.com. Axe with an E. And let us know. We'll maybe read something on the air.
Yeah, I'll be interested if people, I don't know, isn't this I assume that most people have seen this movie besides me. I realize that I'm but actually
The movies we're talking about?
the Jason.
Oh, okay. Most people have seen this one.
I don't know. I kind of don't even know how many there are. I've completely ignored these movies. But I would be interested if people were like, "Oh, I've already seen this movie." Why are you guys?
I think this is the 12th installment.
What?
But it's a remake.
Let's talk about it.
Alright.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for listening. axebrotherpodcast@gmail.com. axebrotherpodcast is our Instagram, and our official sister website is bonedesk.net. So we'll hear from you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Done.